Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to where it is due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Achakwadash. Double honors as always to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone who are well and who taught us this truth. Today's lesson will be entitled, "The Missiles Will Be a Fitting End to America." The missiles will be a fitting end to America. And like the elder Ayash from Mississippi said in his morning news and prophecy this morning, he said that the missiles are the only thing that makes sense for judgment upon America. And yeah, it is the only thing that would make sense, man. When you look at it, and you look at the wickedness and ungodliness that goes throughout America, that's the only thing that can really and ultimately cleanse this place of all the wickedness and all the wicked deeds and ungodliness that flourish throughout America. So, that's when I came, the Spirit came to me and said, the missiles will be a fitting end to America. Now, I put the meaning of that. It means the missiles will be an appropriate or deserved final event in America's downfall end. So, that's going to be really, the icing on the cake. We're seeing ultimately the downfall of America right now. We're seeing the downfall, the upheaval of America, and the missiles are going to be the icing on the cake, as well as, the chariots, and then beaming down, laser beams upon America as well. And if you don't believe it, you can go to the next video, man, because this is what we believe is going to happen. So it says fitting end equals an ending that seems appropriate, fitting, or consistent with what came before. So the missiles would be a fitting, consistent end, final event for America. It says the missiles, likely referring to a missile attack, nuclear war, or some other large-scale military destruction. So yeah, the nuclear war, ultimately, those ICBM warheads pelting and ultimately and completely decimating the entire continental USA. It says America equals the country as a subject whose end is being described. And what other way for America to go out than by the weapons of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai's indignation? Weapons in indignation. I believe it's Isaiah the 13th chapter. Yep, got two of them. Isaiah 13:5. They come from afar. Let's see what it says. Isaiah 13 and verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations. Gathered together, the Lord Yahweh of hosts mustered the host of the battle. So the Lord is getting these things ready. The stage is being set for the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai to bring forth ultimate and utter destruction upon America, man. The stage is being set. Conditions are being met for these things to take place and for these things to come to pass. Verse 5, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Now, what can do that? What can come from a far country, even from the end of heaven? A weapon. What weapon can do this that comes from a far country and destroy a whole land? Let's put two and two together now. We're adults. It's ICBM nuclear missiles, man. And those warheads being attached to those missiles, because the missiles are really, what they call the projectile, and the force that carries those warheads to its destination. So again, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Now we got to see who the weapons of his indignation is for. Would it not be for the people of his indignation? Malachi because I was reading today in Isaiah, the 34th chapter, that the Lord has a sacrifice in Bozrah. And Bozrah, when you look it up, was the head chief capital of Esau, Edom. I just looked that up. Which in today's term, Bozrah would represent America. Was Bozrah capital of Edom? Yes, Bozrah was the ancient capital and administrative center of the biblical kingdom of Edom. So, let's just look it up. What was Bozrah's role? In Edom. In the ancient kingdom of Edom, Bozrah served as a fortified capital city, primary power center, and vital administrative hub. Again, is America not the primary power center of the world? Home of the free, home of the great, land of the free, home of the great. It says Bozrah was the heart of early Edomite governance. Is that not America, man? Military fortress. The name Bozrah itself translates to enclosure, sheepfold, or fortress. An economic and trade hub. Is this not America, man? The city held major economic leverage due to its proximity to the King's Highway, the most critical north-south trade route of the ancient Transjordan. By commanding this route, Bozrah controlled the flow of commercial goods between Mesopotamia and Egypt, bringing immense wealth and regional influence to Edom. Is this not what America does? America brings extreme wealth to its rulers, to the elites, man. That's why when you read in Revelation, the 18th chapter, because America is, the primary hub of receiving goods and what's it called? Receiving goods. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. There was basically the hub of merchandise, man. And we're seeing the same thing today. America buys everything. Without America, the world would just be shook, man. Because we're about to read Revelation 18 and verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Because when you read, it speaks about America being destroyed. America, or it says Babylon the Great, but we know that Babylon the Great here is speaking about America. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear. And it's speaking about no man buy their merchandise anymore. Verse 12, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. So these are the things that was being bought by, and as it says in the NLT, in great quantities. This is what America does. They buy everything. They make sure that they are the main source of production, the main source of buying everything up. We want that. We want that. Verse 14, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly and departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and silver. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? So because America is the hub of everything. Everybody wants to come to America to sell, to buy, to make money, and then send it back home. The hub, man. In the verse 15, in the NLT, the merchants who became wealthy by selling her these things will stand at a distance, terrified at her great torment. Now let's do this. Revelation 18, 11 through 18. 11 through 18. Let's get the rest of this. It says, prophetic symbol for the whole nation. Because Bozrah was the pinnacle of Edomite strength and pride. America is the pinnacle of Edomite strength and pride, man. Old Testament prophets utilized the city as a literal symbol for the entire kingdom. When biblical figures like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Amos pronounced divine judgment against the hostility of Edom, they frequently singled out the citadels of Bozrah to represent the ultimate downfall of the nation. So when you speak about Bozrah, it's speaking about the entire nation. Well, we always got to say hypothetically with chat. Hypothetically, could Bozrah represent Revelation 18, 11 through, what was it, 18? Let's see what chat says. Look, hypothetically, yes, Bozrah could represent the fallen empire described in Revelation 18, 11 through 18, though it requires looking at the text through specific thematic, regional, or macro prophetic lenses. And mainstream, the city being mourned in Revelation 18 is explicitly named as Babylon the Great, of course, symbolizing a future global economic, political, and materialistic empire. Now let's read that again. And when I say these things, think about a nation, a kingdom, a country that represents all these characteristics in one. A future, so in the future, a global economic, political, and materialistic empire. I wonder who that could be. Who could that represent? It says, however, a strong hypothetical and theological case can be made for Bozrah serving as a perfect type, shadow, or geographical anchor for that passage based on several factors. Number one, the direct parallel of the merchant's lament. The core of Revelation 18, 11 through 18 is the dramatic weeping of the merchants of the earth because their lucrative trade has utterly collapsed overnight. The Bozrah parallel. As the premier trade hub on the King's Highway, ancient Bozrah's entire existence relied on taxing and trading luxury goods, spices, textiles, precious metals between Egypt and Mesopotamia. The judgment parallel. When the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah predicted Bozrah's ruin, they used nearly identical themes of an elite, wealthy trade center suddenly being laid bare, stripped of its commercial luxury and left completely desolate. Number two, the macro prophetic link, the Edom-Babylonian connection. In end-time biblical prophecy, Edom and its capital Bozrah is frequently used by Old Testament prophets as a microcosm or archetype for the anti-power, anti-God world system, the exact same way Babylon is used in the New Testament. For example, Isaiah 34, which we're going to get, describes a global judgment against all nations, but shifts the imagery specifically to a great slaughter in the land of Edom and a great sacrifice in Bozrah, which again, Bozrah in Isaiah 34 is representing America, the spiritually, America, man. Spiritual, it wasn't speaking about the physical landmass of Bozrah. No, it's speaking about America. And today's, this was a future event, a future prophecy that would come to pass. Look, because Isaiah merges global end time judgment with the destruction of Bozrah, many scholars view Bozrah and Babylon as twin symbols of the same prideful, wealthy global system that God eventually overthrows. Number 3, among certain modern prophecy commentators who favor a Middle Eastern view of the Antichrist empire rather than a viewed European Roman Empire, Revelation 18's commercial, again, Revelation 18's, which would be Babylon the Great's commercial superpower, is heavily tied to the oil-rich wealth of the modern Middle East. Since ancient Edom and Bozrah encompasses part of the modern Jordan and Saudi Arabia, some commentators map the geographical judgments of the Old Testament directly on the financial ruin of Revelation 18. Well, that's really going into something else. But we've seen it. So we can link and say Bozrah was in the same lofty, high position or close as Babylon the Great in Revelation. Thematically and prophetically, yes, you can absolutely make that link. In the world biblical prophecy, Bozrah serves as a perfect regional mini Babylon. It occupied the exact same type of lofty, prideful, and secure position in the Old Testament that Babylon the Great occupies on a global scale in Revelation. When you compare the lofty high positions, the parallels are striking. Number 1, high in physical and military pride. 1, Bozrah, built over 3,500 feet high on an isolated rocky bluff. Bozrah was a literal mountain fortress. The Edomites believed they were completely safe from invasion. Babylon the Great, in Revelation 18:7, Babylon boasts with the exact same arrogant security because it's the same people. Bozrah in the Old Testament is speaking about Esau, Edom. Babylon the Great in the New Testament and Revelation is speaking about Esau, Edom, man. That great red dragon, that old serpent. The exact same arrogant security. So when the scripture's speaking about in Isaiah 34, let's go ahead and get Isaiah 34. This is a future prophecy that has yet to come to pass, man, but it's about to come to pass very soon. Isaiah 34 to the point in verse 6. Verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword, and what's ultimately that sword that the Lord is going to bathe in heaven is those missiles, man. Verse 6. The sword of the Lord Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidney of rams, and you people who want to continue on with the loftiness of America, the loftiness of Babylon the Great, and continue like nothing is going to go on, you're going to take part of this sacrifice as well, man. Because you want to continue on in wickedness and ungodliness rather than repenting and turning back to the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai, you're gonna burn and be that sacrifice right alongside Bozrah, aka America. It says, for the Lord, and we're not going to do it, man. The Lord is going to do it. We have no power on our hands. All we're doing is prophets, starting with our apostles, bishops, elders, the great millstone on down. We're only out here and prophesying, telling you these things that is going to happen before they happen. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual. In the pulling down of strongholds, man. We're not doing anything. We're as the apostles and bishops and elders always say, man, we are only chanting down the destruction of America. For the Lord Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Bozrah and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. That is a future prophecy speaking about America, aka Babylon the Great, in Revelation the 18th chapter. And what a fitting end. what other way for America, which, you know, kind of got off topic with Bozrah, but you know, there are lessons within lessons, and that was also a good detour, man. Now we're back on about to be on back on track, which it says high in economic control. Bozrah dominated the King's Highway trade route. It grew immensely wealthy by controlling and taxing the flow of luxury goods, spices, and metals across the ancient Near East. Babylon the Great controls the ultimate global trade network in Revelation 18:11 through 13, where the merchants of earth grow rich off her excessive luxury. So the other nations, when you look at it today, they have grown rich off America, man. Have they not? And if you say no, then you need to drink some water and go stretch, man. It says both cities represent the absolute pinnacle of human self-sufficiency, material wealth, and fierce opposition to God's people. Because Bozrah was the highest, proudest city of Edom, the Old Testament prophets used its destruction as a pattern or blueprint for how God would eventually judge Babylon and the rest of the world. Now let's see this. You gotta say hypothetically, by the way. Hypothetically. I'm trying to think how to phrase it so it won't trip the algo with AI. Hypothetically, do we see America with the same characteristics okay, not characterization, characteristics, Slagia,